Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitam Pushtam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasati Gaurabhakta Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasati Gaurabhakta Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasati
की बजायो नहीं बार को की बजायो जयो गौरा चांदे आरती का शोभा जानावी ताटावाने जगा मन लोबा Gaurasha वर्क नहीं कर वर्क नहीं हो रहा राखी नेताई चाँद बामे गदधारा निकटे अद्वैताशिनी वासव छत्रधार रत्ना सिंहासने आरती कोरे ना ब्रह्मा आदि देवगणे चामर डुलाया संजय मुकुंद वासु घोष आदि गाया शंख बाजे घंटा बाजे बाजे करताला मधुरा मृदंग बाजे परम रसाला
शंख बाजे घंटा बाजे बाजे करताल मधुर मृदंग बाजे परम रसाल
बहु कोटि चंद्र जिने वादना उज्ज्वला गाला देश वनमाला कोरे जलमाला
कोटि चंद्रगिरी गाला उज्ज्वला गाला सेवनमाला करे जलमाला
शिव शुका नारद प्रेम गद गदा भक्ति विनोदा देखे गौरा संपादा गौरांगे आरती को शोभा जगा जन मन लोभा गौरांगे आरती को शोभा जग जन मन लोभा Tay gora rio लोभा गौरा हरि बोल रे ताई गौरा हरि बोल जय प्रभुपाद 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 जय जय प्रभुपाद जय जय गुरुदेव 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 जय जय गुरुदेव
जय गुरुदेव 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 जय जय
ना नमो नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमद् भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नामिने
कृष्णाय भूतले
Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashatya Deshatarine
Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashatya Deshatarine
Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktivedanta
Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktivedanta
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Sing.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Vrinda, go.
Hare Krishna,
Sing.
Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare,
You say.
Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Ram. आपको गाना है? ओके. हरे
Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, जय जय गुरुदेव।
जय जय गुरुदेव 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 जय जय गुरुदेव
जय गुरुदेव गुरुदेव।
नमस्ते नरसिंहाय
नमस्ते नरसिंहाय
प्रह्लादलाददायिने
प्रह्लादलाददायिने
हिरण्यकशिपूर्वक्षः
काशीपूर्वक्षः
शिलाटङ्कानकालये
शिलाटङ्कानकालये
हितो नरसिंहो परतो नरसिंहो
नरसिंहो परतो नरसिंहो
परतो यतोऽयमिततो नरसिंहो
यतो यामिततो नरसिंहो
बाहे नरसिंहो हृदये नरसिंहो
नरसिंहो हृदये नरसिंहो
नरसिंहमदिं शरणं प्रपदे
नरसिंहमदिं शरणं प्रपदे
तव करकमलवरे नखा अद्भुतशृङ्गां दलिता हिरण्यकशिपु तनुभृङ्गां केशवधृता नरहरिरूपां जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे
तव करकमलवरे नखामद्भुतशृङ्गा दलिता हिरण्यकशिपो तनुभृङ्गा केशवधृता नरहरिरूपा जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे
जय नरसिंहदेव 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 जय नरसिंहदेव
नरसिंहदेव Nrsingadev, Nrsingadev, Jaya Nrsingadev.
Jaya Prahlad Maharaj, Prahlad Maharaj, Prahlad Maharaj, Jaya Prahlad Maharaj.
Jaya Prahlad Maharaj, Prahlad Maharaj, Prahlad Maharaj, Jaya Prahlad Maharaj. बोल श्री की बोल श्री भक्त प्रहलाद महाराज की बोल प्रेमानंदी शीला प्रभुपाद की जय. Okay, you left these on, eh? Did you put them all out?
No, I took them out.
Okay, that we need to leave them on.
Oh, because every time oh, is it?
Yeah, because in the morning they're desperate to find them.
Oh, okay.
Okay, now my too late.
Hare Krishna, Krishna, be careful. You want me to spread out there?
Just do the temple.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
I'm not going to involve. I'm cleaning up here. Okay, so can one of you carry the other one then? Yeah, one you can on it. Okay, so we have to walk close together to the cage there. Okay, on the right hand side. Barrett, can you do one from? Yeah, we need to put this back in there. Well, there's 3 programs.
Who wants to take over? Yes, I'm done. Okay. Alright, but be careful. Some of the places available. So we start from the back. Your table is up here. Where's the blue tissue? I want the table.
Great, all right.
भाई वशिष्ठ प्रभु अरे मैं बूढ़ा हो गया रे भाई
कुकी 2 प्लेट हो गए
I know, I'm walking slowly. Yeah.
बहुत बढ़िया है जो
down. You okay?
Yeah, it's okay. I forgot. Oh, yeah, I forgot to tell you.
I can read it again. It's the people here in the kitchen, maybe, no? And then-
Yeah, they
then
will go.
I completely forgot about
And online. Yeah, no, I should have.
it. Like almost more than a year that I'm not doing this service. Okay. I'm sorry for the people that couldn't listen before. I'm gonna put again. I'm gonna read again, like the translation of like. It's like chapter 6, text 45. And when the yogi engages himself with sincere endeavor in making the further progress, being washed of all contamination, then ultimately achieves perfection after many, many births of practice, he attains the supreme goal. So, relevant aspects about the purport of Srila Prabhupada is that he's saying is this yogi is born in either in an aristocratic family or in a sacred family. There's a family of transcendentalists. So he becomes he becomes conscious of his favorable condition for executing yoga practice. So it means that he realizes that he can do yoga practice because whatever he had from his previous lives is still with him. We were just saying that also, that there is not lost in the spiritual path. If a person dies, whatever gain he had in the spiritual path, in Krishna consciousness, he takes to his next life. So the yogi becomes aware that he is good in yoga practice, that he can do that because that is coming from his previous lives. And then it also refers to the determination, the importance of determination to complete his unfinished task. No, it's also an important idea that Srila Prabhupada mentions. So we were saying just briefly the key points that there is no loss in the spiritual path. So we were saying that the yogi, there's whatever gain in spiritual path that was from the previous life comes in the next life. And also we also mentioned that another key point was that the body is meant to be used to go back to the Lord. It's not meant to be used for enjoyment, for self gratification. And then we were referring to the Gita 6:16, when the Blessed Lord states, there is no possibility of becoming a yogi or Arjuna if one eats too much or eats too little or sleeps too much or does not sleep enough. So this is also an important aspect. No? To be a yogi, you need to be able to have some control over the senses. No? Then we refer. Actually, I want to mention something that Srila Prabhupada is saying that devotees should not sleep more than 6 hours. So it's important to sleep 6 hours. I myself, I don't sleep 6 hours. I'm sleeping 5, and I need to improve in that. So we need to really organize. And then also recommends not to eat a lot, because if you eat a lot, just especially before going to sleep, then you will require to sleep more because you will be having a lot of dreams. I think it's more like that the devotees doing, especially when they are temple devotees, they have to wake up to Mangalartik and they go to bed late, so they just don't sleep enough. Then also we were referring about determination, that Srila Prabhupada says, with determination he begins his unfinished task. And he completely cleanses himself of material contaminations. So he is engaged. We gave the example of the sparrow that we were just saying, that he was so determined to dry out the ocean to get his eggs back, that he got the help of Garuda. So Garuda noticed him, and helped him. So in the same way, we need to be determined, and the Lord will notice us and will give us the blessings for to continue our spiritual path. Then another important aspect that I notice is that we need to make the mind our friend, and that could be like difficult, but it's difficult because there's this confusion, like, at the beginning in our path of Krishna consciousness, it's difficult to realize who I am and who is the mind. When is the mind talking and when is me that I'm saying something? Like, it could be confusing, no? Like, you come to Krishna consciousness and they start telling, no, you are not the body. That is clear, yeah, I'm not the body, I'm the soul. But then they tell you, you are not the mind. And then you're thinking, when is the mind talking and when I am talking? Who is who? And then it's very difficult, It's very difficult because it's tricky. Even when I was talking with my spiritual master, he was telling me that is the mind, it's not you. And I'm like, yeah, it's difficult. So I guess a way to see it is like, whenever you want to do the things correctly, but it's difficult, and there is a voice telling you, don't go to Mangalar, stay at bed. Today is okay. Then it's the mind, no? When it's something that is taking you away from what you have to do. So how to make the mind a friend? The mind will help us in our spiritual path. Srila Prabhupada says that the mind can be the cause of bondage and can be the cause of liberation. And then Arjuna says in the Gita 6:34, the mind is restless, turbulent, obstinate, and very strong to subdue. It is more difficult than controlling the wind. So imagine, it's much more easy to control the wind than to control the mind. But Lord Krishna replies, it is very difficult to curb the restless mind, but it's possible by suitable practice and by detachment. So Krishna is saying, yes, it's very difficult, but if you do devotional practice and you are detached from the sense of the objects, you can do it. So there is 9 types of devotional service. I'm going to just read them briefly for the people who are not familiar. That is hearing, chanting, remembering, serving, worshiping the deity in the temple, praying, carrying out orders, serving Krishna as a friend, and sacrificing everything for him, for the Lord. But then Srila Prabhupada, he says that to pacify the mind, to make her a friend, he says that hearing, that type of devotional service, is what the mind needs. Hearing about the pastimes of Lord Krishna is a treatment for the mad mind. That's what he says. Eating Krishna prasadam is a diet for the suffering patient. So by hearing about the transcendental pastimes of the Lord, the mind becomes attached to the Lord, the person becomes attached to the Lord, and then the mind becomes a friend. I think we have to realize that over the mind is the intelligence. So trying to go against the mind is, in my own experience, is not the best idea. You have to try to negotiate with the mind, and then after that, prove what you're saying. For example, this fact that the pastimes of the Lord is the remedy for the mind, for the mad mind. You have to kind of talk to yourself about that. Whatever I'm doing is helping me because I am happy, I'm pacified. This practice is really good for me. I don't have no mood swings. I'm very tranquil. I'm very pacified. So this talk, you're doing it with the mind. I'm following the instructions of my guru, and I'm following the relative principles, and I'm doing good. I'm feeling happy. So whatever this is what I'm doing. I'm going to continue doing it. And the mind is all about. This is my humble opinion. The mind is all about survival of the body. So he's thinking it's better to sleep more hours and don't go to Mangalartik. It's a loss of time to be chanting so many rounds. This is like the mind talking. No, you negotiate with the mind. I have been doing this for all this time, and I'm a much happier person now than I was before I met the devotees. So whatever I'm doing now is really good for me. And this is the way you can make the mind a friend, because then you can talk to yourself about the benefits of Krishna consciousness. This has worked with me with my own mind, at least, so it's my humble suggestion. So we have been talking about the key points that relate to the purport. But it's also interesting to mention that, like Srila Prabhupada is saying, after many, many verses of executing pious activities, he's referring to the Gita 7:28, and he's saying, after many, many verses of executing pious activities, when one is completely freed from all contaminations and from all illusory dualities, one becomes engaged in the transcendental loving service of the Lord. So in some way, he's referring to the devotees have been doing some pious activities before in their previous lives, and because of that, in this lifetime, they got the opportunity of meeting the devotees and becoming Krishna consciousness. This is something interesting, no, about what he's saying. So, basically, like reviewing the whole purport and the whole verse, the yogi that practiced Krishna consciousness in the previous life, like he's born with the possibility of getting engaged again in Krishna consciousness, in continuing his path. The Lord gives them that. I can say that just by being born in a country like this country that has so many opportunities, you have the opportunity of continuing Krishna consciousness. If you are born in a place that is more deprived and your basic needs are not covered, then it's harder. So you can say, yeah, and then to meet the devotees and to have the opportunity of coming to do devotional practice in a temple like this temple. All of these are like blessings. I think it's a combination of blessings and also like pious activities from previous lives, or some devotional practice from previous lives. So that is being referred. So it could be considered like a person that is like, if you were not born maybe in a family of devotees. I mean, I was born in a family of Catholic devotees, not of Krishna consciousness devotees. Maybe both of you the same. No, you were born in, so maybe you were born in a family of devotees. Yeah, like maybe you had that opportunity since early childhood to know about Krishna, but I was just born in a family of like Catholic people, but you can say, okay, with some economical advantage that allow me to be here and to learn and to be able to work and to learn about and to do my devotional practice, no? So, but then that is something like that. Then also the points that are important is like that we need to follow the regulative principles, and we need to have the idea that the body is meant to be used to go back to the Lord. That we need to use our determination to continue in our path. And it's going to be difficult. It's going to be up and downs. Sometimes it's like, for example, the lockdown and all that time without association and without devotional service. For some of us that couldn't come to the temple was awful. And that, I think that was a real test of the determination. How can you continue chanting every day, and listening to class, just alone? Just studying, just alone. Maybe you have, at a certain point, we were not even allowed to associate with people from another house. We can only associate with the people from our house. So, and then at a certain point, we were not able to go to work as well. So it's like just alone, basically, most of the time. You continue chanting every day. So that's a very good test to the determination. Some online association, yes, but apart from that, it was not too much. Now, when I came back, it was wonderful. Then you appreciate then you say, oh my Lord, I had had this for so long, and I have never realized how wonderful it is until now. Just to come here to the programs, to have prasadam is so wonderful. Being the celebrations is so wonderful. Before, I think, at least me, I was taking everything for granted. And then later, when it was taken away, I realized how important it was in my life and how grateful I should be for it. So and this my experience is the experience of many people that couldn't live in the temple during the lockdown. You know, many devotees, they couldn't live in the temple. So that, I guess, the lockdown was a test to the determination. Can you stay in Krishna consciousness even if you just don't have association, or only association online? So there is like 5 minutes more, and I want you to ask questions because I don't like to be like all the time talking. If you have a question about it, yes.
Yeah. You were talking about how it was so difficult during lockdown, having no association. I was just wondering what were the things that really kept you going, that kept you determined to, keep chanting and listening?
I guess like the relation. I was talking to, every week I was writing to my guru. I was having my the association of my guru, and I have this promise, that I was gonna chant 16 rounds every day in my life, and I was like really like, determined to continue with that. But for example, my guru gave me the instruction like to go every other day to Mangalartik, and I'm going to tell you the truth. Like at the beginning, I was putting the Mangalartik online. Like at the beginning, this temple wasn't having Mangalartik, but Mayapur was having Mangalartik. But I needed to wait until 12 to see the Mangalartik of Mayapur. I didn't know how to do that, and how to follow that instruction without being able to come to the temple, because it was given when this situation of the lockdown was like not even considered, So, and at a certain point, I just couldn't continue by myself, having online Mangalartik. I was having some days, but most of the days I wasn't having online Mangalartik. I just couldn't. I was having Guru Puja, but Mangalartik by myself, and I just told my guru. And he didn't say nothing. Like the instruction became like in standby, and they needed to be retaken. And when the lockdown will finish, so now I'm back into following my instruction. So that 16 rounds I was chanting because that I could do by myself, and I was listening to online classes all the time, and trying to study, doing online courses. But the hardest was to have online Mangalartik. Online Mangalartik by myself, it was just hard. And then a certain time I stopped, and I was only doing like greetings of the deities and Guru Puja. And I just told my guru, I just cannot. I don't have that determination. I am not so advanced like to be able to wake up by myself every day. But I have seen it in other devotees that they live in their own houses, away from. I have seen it. I have seen it in elder devotees that they moved away from the temples because they have been doing it for so many years. Devotees on their 60s, I'm talking. They have been in Krishna consciousness since their early 20s. They can live away from the temple, and they are so used to waking up like at 4 in the morning that they just do it even alone. Because I have visited Matajis in Spain, elder Matajis, just to have their association, and they were doing that every day, online Mangalartik. They didn't need the temple, like they just had the temple was them. They had the temple with them, They were carrying the temple in their minds. The mind is a temple, because they have been in the temple for so long. They lived near a temple for so long that the mind was the temple for them. And they had their tulsi, and they had the altar, and they were doing everything there, with no association. But we were just talking about the emperor Bharat, that when he left, to King Bharat, then he left alone to the forest, and because he wanted to have a renounced life, and then he started associating with a deer. He needed association. He was not in that stage. So I guess I can tell you that I was determined to follow the regulative principles and chant my 16 rounds, but I couldn't follow all the I couldn't follow that instruction. Now I'm doing it again. I'm retaking it again. So I guess I was not that so advanced like to do it. Yeah, another question.
Yeah, just remember that what I learned that our mind is, we should make our mind a devotee, because at first our mind is not the devotee.
Yeah, it's not.
It acts against our practice. But when we, little by Mahamantra,
Yeah.
we all the practice, the mind becomes a devotee.
Yeah,
And then we chant 24 hours per day, but non-stop. Because
Yeah. Becomes a friend and becomes a devotee. Yeah, but I wonder something. Like we were talking just right now about the yogi that has the unsuccessful yogi that has another birth and a birth that allows him to continue in Krishna consciousness. But we have been explained that like together with the soul, it goes like the subtle body that is made up of like intelligence, mind, and superego. So that mind has been exposed before. The mind of the yogi has been exposed before to Krishna consciousness. So and when it comes again to a new body with a soul, why is it giving trouble again? It doesn't make sense because he was exposed to the Krishna consciousness before. Maybe it's not going to give so much trouble, I guess.
Because mind is material, isn't it?
Yeah, it is material.
Mind is material. Therefore, when we change the body, we get another mind.
No, you get the same mind. It comes with you. Yeah, the same mind. Yeah, it's the same mind. That you go with your own. You go with your own subtle body, and the subtle body is made up of mind, intelligence, and ego. So it's the same mind. Only when you leave this body, then that mind that is material doesn't go with you to the spiritual world. Then you get your real mind.
When we get spiritual body, then our mind.
We have. It's inside of us. It's just inside. Everything is inside. The soul is inside. And then like that material, that subtle. We are the soul. That subtle material body stays here. And then we get our real mind, our real intelligence that is appropriate for the spiritual planets. I asked that question to my guru.
The mind with Krishna, with everything, what's Krishna, yeah? Then we become peaceful in our mind and we can
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. I asked the same question to my guru, like what happens with that subtle body, and he said that it stays here. And then how come we can go without a subtle body to the spiritual world? And he said that we have a subtle body, a mind and an intelligence inside of us. That when we get liberated, it comes out and like goes out with us to the spiritual planets. So it's inside of us, but it's just we are just not aware of us. Like we have, like it's some kind of forgetfulness.
It's like we are harmonizing with the higher souls, with Krishna, and that subtle body becomes, like neutralized, and then we are free, we are liberated.
When I think in liberation.
When we get it, because now what is happening in this world, the people are not in Krishna's energy, yeah, and everything is happening chaotic
Yes.
in the world. But what do the devotees do? They chant, they live this life so that we get into harmony with Krishna. And when we get into the total harmony, then the subtle body is like becomes transcendental, yeah? Subtle body becomes transcendental. It's like neutralizes that material contamination, and then we become free as a soul. We are liberated, yeah.
Anyway.
And we are not contaminated.
Yeah. Anyway, it's like past the time now. I think we have to finish.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you for coming.
Great.